Howdy folks, today we're looking at Sergio Aragonés Massacres Marvel from 1996 in DC. No, sorry, it's from Marvel. I was just goofing to see if you were paying attention. Here's the second half of the strangest intercompany crossover that doesn't involve Rutland, Vermont, featuring our man Sergio setting up shop in the Marvel offices. The joke here, just as with the DC volume, entails Sergio sitting down and drawing all the main Marvel properties. The historical record will show, however, that early 1996 was a strange time to be doing this. The mid-90s was a notoriously rough time for the Marvel line, with the mainline hero book set to be imminently cancelled and rebooted in the Heroes Reborn promotion. Spider-Man exhausted following years of poorly received clone storylines, and even the gravy train X-Men titles beginning to flag after the era-defining success of the Age of Apocalypse proved a high-water mark they couldn't replicate. But these are the versions of the characters as they existed at the moment they asked Sergio to draw them, and so these are the low-hanging fruit Aragonés and longtime amanuensis Mark Evanier get to pluck. Spider-Man is a whiny punk complaining about his marriage while being overrun by an endless stream of doppelgangers. The Silver Surfer is a whiny schmuck complaining about, well, everything, and the Fantastic Four are all whining about quitting the team constantly, which used to happen all the time and really doesn't happen quite so much anymore. The only one who isn't whining is the Hulk, who hangs around the desert cracking Star Trek jokes, which, to be fair, represents a solid 12 years of Hulk stories. The jokes are terrible and yet also painfully on target. There's a recurring gag about different characters making Wizard of Oz references, which definitely used to be a thing, and the X-Men Section zeroes right in on, yes, the characters' proclivity to whine so much that their heads end up covered by word balloons. Although I sincerely doubt Sergio intended this book to represent a serious critique of the Marvel line, it can't help but seem pointed in hindsight. The books were rudderless and the company was listing in the middle of the decade, in a way that DC just wasn't. That Sergio hit the target with some very stale jokes is an indication that much of the line was indeed actively going stale. The real treat here, as with the DC book, is the profusion of stunt inkers. Joe Sinnott and John Romita Sr. show up for their laurels, but seem rather confused by the exercise. George Perez, however, does just fine, along with Channel Fave Steve Lealoha on the Silver Surfer and Marie Severin on the Hulk. Sergio was probably a walk in the park for her after all that Evan Dorkin we've been reading. The great Terry Austin makes his third appearance here in the space of a week, if you're keeping track, proof positive that he can tighten up literally anybody. As for Sergio, there would actually be a third book in this impromptu crossover in which he smashed Star Wars, albeit 4 years after the fact from Dark Horse. We already looked at that a while ago, however, so don't worry, you're safe.